When I first got into this business, my inexperience and lack of knowledge was glaringly obvious. One of the mistakes I made was not setting expectations with my sellers properly. I didn't really have the knowledge on how to educate them properly and to set those expectations. And that in turn cost me, well, not only sales, but dissatisfied sellers, which then I believe actually negatively affected my business as well. Today, I'm going to share with you one simple step that I have made in my business that has helped my business change radically over the past 10 years. Stay till the end of this video, and I promise you that you will have more satisfied customers. So let me set the stage here so that we can understand what we're looking at. Me as a brand new agent, I did not know even actually to present a seller net sheet. Now, seller net sheet here in Colorado, we go in and we tell a seller, this is how much you're going to tentatively list your home for. These are your expenses. And then we kind of tell them, this is what your bottom line is, right? And when I very first got into the business, did not even do that with my sellers. Looking back in hindsight, I don't even know what I was doing, truthfully. But I look at a seller net sheet as a clear expectation now as to what my seller is expecting to come away with, right? Well, one of the biggest changes that I have made in my business is not only presenting a seller net sheet and educating them on what the expenses are, how everything flushes out, and what their bottom line dollar is, but also that I now bring what is called a high net sheet and a low net sheet. And I tell Mr. Seller, here's where we're going to price your home. And let's say we're at 500,000. And then I itemize everything out, and then we get down to the bottom line, and Mr. Seller's like, yay, I'm so excited. And I said, okay, well, I just want to also have a conversation with you. The market is, and then I explained to him what the market's doing right now and how things are going. And while we have seen that this is where the comps are and the values are in the neighborhood, it is quite possible with maybe the time of year or elections, or maybe it's holidays, or maybe interest rates are affecting sales right now. And we want to have a conversation with our sellers. So I also bring a low net sheet. I bring a high one and a low one. So let's say we've got one at 500,000. I will also bring one at 475,000. This helps my seller to begin to be able to focus not so much on how much money they're selling a home for, right? Because they can become very hyper fixated on, you said I was getting 500,000. And if all of a sudden we have to reduce our price or we have to give a seller concession, Mr. Seller begins to become very fixated on what the selling price is. So what I do is I go in armed with both of these net sheets, one at 500, one at 475. And I say, okay, Mr. Seller, here's where I hope that we will be based on comps, based on values, based on everything that you've done to the home. This is where we hope to be. Mr. Seller, if we were able to get you 475,000 and we take out all these expenses and this bottom line dollar you were able to walk away with, would you be satisfied with that? The reason I do this is during the real estate transaction, many people become emotionally vested in the process and in the outcome, obviously as a seller, right? But if we have already preemptively had that conversation with them of, Mr. Seller, if this was the number you were to come away with, and they have already agreed to that, then if we have to take a price reduction or provide a seller concession, Mr. Seller is 9 times out of 10 a lot more likely to do that because we've talked about it. We've set the expectations and we've done the work preemptively at the beginning. Now, of course, we're not going to automatically just roll over and hand over $25,000, but properly setting an expectation at the very start helps our sellers to feel more confident in our ability to negotiate and in our ability to get them to the closing table. So when I go to a listing now, I will come in with a high and a low, and maybe not a $25,000 difference. It might be a $10,000 or a $15,000 difference, but I go in armed with that ahead of time. This really helps them to feel like their needs are being met and they are feeling heard. So my recommendation when you go into a listing from now on, take a high, take a low, and have that conversation with your seller, and just preemptively have that conversation so that it makes sure that you have communicated, they have been heard, and you both are on the same page about the direction that you are headed. If you found this video helpful, please like and subscribe. Have a great day.